It's the then versus now challenge! 3!
Welcome back, fans.
Today is the last first round race in Group 1.
And if you missed our last race in Group 2, where I explained why the last race in each group has 3 question marks instead of 2, then you missed a lot. And I'm not repeating it. Barry is. Haha, gotcha!
Well, fans, when we were accepting drivers for this tournament, we ended up with more drivers than available spots. But luckily, some members of Team Now have egos to rival their own captain, Mr. Frederick Allen, full of himself Seto.
Hey, I told you, we're not conceited, we're confident.
Anyway, 2 members of Team Now were so confident, they said they'd race 2 members of Team Then at the same time. Now that you know why you'll be seeing 3 cars today instead of the usual 2, let's get to know today's drivers.
Up first for Team Now is Jack Taylor in the 2008 Holden VEU SSV, and his hometown is New South Wales, Australia. And it says here, he works as a kitchen hand at a beachside restaurant in Port Macquarie.
And the first member of Team Then he'll be facing is Gary Campbell from Conway, Arkansas, in his daily driver, the 1960 Chevrolet El Camino, given to him by his grandpa. And back in Conway, Gary puts that El Camino to work every day, keeping us all fed, because Gary and the El Camino work every day as farmers. Up next, we have Gary's Team Then partner, Rolando Alvarez, in this freshly tuned up 1980 El Camino SS. And Rolando joins us from Queens, New York, where he works the overnight shift in a bodega on Queens Boulevard. Here we are at the guillotine gate for Heat 1.
Wow, look at the 3 of them lined up like that. It's like a snapshot of coupe Ute history. In lane 1, it's Farmer Campbell in his 1960 El Camino. In the middle lane, it's Rolando in the 1980 SS. And finally, in lane 3, it's my boy from Australia in the 2008 Holden. See how cool that looks, Barry? I bet you're secretly happy Jack Taylor had a big ego and issued this challenge.
Ah, see, you admit it. Big ego.
Sorry, no time to talk, Barry. Looks like I accidentally hit the countdown button.
3, 2, 1, go!
And they're off.
Taylor on his side.
Rolando leads.
Rolando tumbles.
Campbell hits the clunkers. Clunkers go boom.
Rolando on his roof.
Campbell makes the pass and is... holy moly! Massive explosion!
Someone get the safety crew out there while we do the replay.
I told you it was a good idea to save these 3-car races until the end of each round. Look how much action we got, and this is only Heat 1.
Well, things did turn on their side once the racers got to the bottleneck, and Jack Taylor took that quite literally.
And just look how the members of Team Then drift in the turn, trying hard to avoid from taking each other out.
Meanwhile, the only thing Jack Taylor is taking out is all the paint on his roof as his car grinds to a halt in the turn. But in Clunker Canyon, Rolando Alvarez goes high off the turn, coming down on the front corner and tumbling his way down, setting clunkers loose on the track.
And you could tell Gary Campbell is a farmer because he turns that El Camino into a plow and goes right through those loose clunkers. And in the boulevard, it looks like Rolando is going to scrape across the line while getting a push from one of those loose clunkers. And then, out of nowhere, Gary Campbell turns his plow into a rocket and zooms by for a pass right before the line. And just like a rocket, he explodes on re-entry.
Al, rockets are not supposed to explode on re-entry. Also, we all know Gary uses that truck on the farm. I'm sure it was just some leftover manure he was hauling that got pressurized from the G-forces going around the track. And speaking of pressurized, with Gary Campbell's Team Then win, Jack Taylor has 1 less heat to cash in on his ego. See? Look at that! Everyone is back at the gate for Heat 2.
Wow, Barry, I thought your explanation just made no sense. But I'm sorry, it looks like you were right.
Al, I've worked with you for a long time and have heard countless hours of your commentary. So if there's one thing I've learned anything about, it's manure.
Hey!
Sorry, no time to talk, Al. Looks like I accidentally hit the countdown button.
3, 2, 1, go!
Taylor pushes!
Farmer on his roof! A reversal!
Campbell passes in the canyon!
Jack Taylor skids to a halt, but he blocks Rolando Alvarez.
Campbell into the wall and straightens out.
Across the line and boom! Hard into the tires!
Let's see it again in the replay.
This is not going as expected, Barry.
It is for Team Then, but I will give Jack Taylor some credit. Going down Nevada, he attempted a double Picasso block, trying to take out both Gary and Rolando. And while Holden does get the pink El Camino to flip, Rolando, being from Queens, is used to very aggressive driving on the BQE and easily brushes it off. And we can see while the farmer is barrel rolling, Jack Taylor is now struggling to keep straight in the bottleneck. And once they get into Carmine Corner, even though he has the lead, Jack Taylor is once again on his roof. And the farm boy has now righted himself.
I gotta admit, Barry, that was a pretty cool reversal.
But it doesn't end there, Al. Gary Campbell actually drives under Jack Taylor's Holden coming off the jump in Clunker Canyon.
And those three out-of-control trucks must have looked so scary coming down the track that one of the clunkers decided to call it quits and threw itself off the cliff.
And the clunker wasn't the only one, because Jack Taylor grinds to a halt right at the end of Clunker Canyon, effectively calling it quits while blocking Rolando Alvarez in the process. Finally, farm boy Gary Campbell is able to get that long El Camino pointed in the right direction, and while he tries to use the wall to slow himself down, it does not help, and he goes into the tires as he crosses the line.
Into the tires? Barry, he hit them so hard, I'm surprised he didn't go through the tires and into the broadcast booth.
Well, where he did explode again was onto our scorecard. He just scored his second win. Heat 3. Jack Taylor already has 2 losses. This heat is pretty much a mercy run to give Jack Taylor's big ego a chance to put at least 1 win on the scorecard.
That's not funny, Barry.
It is if you're the captain of Team Then. Ha!
3, 2, 1, go!
Team up! Amazing! Whoa! Gary through the turn!
Rolando rocking horses and is out!
Campbell gets swirly! He's across the line and just taps the tires! This is it, Al. One last replay. Well, this race just proves the old motto, Al. When you want something done right, send a farmer.
Well, it also doesn't hurt having some help from a bodega worker, because Rolando Alvarez helps Gary Campbell block on the way down Nevada. And I have to admit, that block was brutal. I mean, look at the way both members of Team Then sandwich him in there and immediately flip Jack Taylor and cause him to go off the track into a puff of smoke. Hey, you know what, Barry? That block was brutal. In fact, it was the first time ever performed on our track by 2 members of the same club, sandwiching in an opponent and immediately ending his run. So from this day forward, that block is going to be called the Club Sandwich.
I love it, Al. Club Sandwich it is. And acting even more like a club, Team Then member Rolando Alvarez sacrifices himself so Gary Campbell could get a perfect shutout victory.
And he goes out in style. I mean, look how many times he rocking horses before he comes to a standstill. He's going. And going. Still going. Wow, we counted a full 80 rocking horses before he came to a stop. That's gotta be a record.
And speaking of setting records, Gary Campbell flies through Clunker Canyon and speeds his way into the boulevard and across the line, becoming the first ever winner in a 2-against-1 match. And not only is Gary Campbell the first ever winner in a 2-against-1 match, but he won with a perfect shutout victory. He is easily tonight's winner. The farm boy just proved you definitely reap what you sow. Because with that shutout, he just secured the last available spot in the quarterfinals for Group 1. And while Rolando Alvarez did not advance, he could go back to Queens with his head held high because he did an outstanding job as a teammate, helping to assure his partner's victory.
And unfortunately, Jack Taylor could not live up to his high hopes of being able to take on 2 members of Team Then and is eliminated.
You know what, Al? I just realized Jack Taylor works in a kitchen, and he was beat by someone named Campbell. So today, it was the chef that got cooked by the soup.
Well, fans, we hope you loved our very first 2 against 1 matchup.
And if you did like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget, we have one more 2 against 1 match coming up to close out Group 2. But we're keeping those cars secret until race day. That is, unless you subscribe to our channel, where we always reveal the racers a few days early in our community posts. So be sure to join us next time for more 2 against 1 action. But in the meanwhile, be sure to check out our playlist to catch up on all our other tournaments and events. And if that's still not enough Scrapyard Diecast racing action for you, go check out our Shorts channel and subscribe.
It's the Then versus Now challenge. 3,